Good morning, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Is your eye rig on, honey? Put a light on it. Hey, everybody, our sound wasn't turned on. Do I have a voice now? Good. Hello, everybody. It's Brady here from Sparrow Quilt Company in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. We are so excited here. We're getting our sign installed out front today. So when you locals come by, or even when you're coming from far away, you're going to be able to find us just a little bit easier. This is our mystery summer sampler. We are moving on to block 11 this week. You can see our prior 10 blocks on display behind me here. We've been chipping away at this quilt one block at a time. Every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. we broadcast live here on Facebook from our studio. And like I said, we've only got one more block after this week, and then we will wrap this up and we will start a fall mystery sampler. And I'm looking forward to that one. It is one of my favorite quilts, but let's be honest here. They're all my favorite, aren't they? How are you guys all doing today? Where are you watching from? Are you all caught up on your blocks? It's okay if you're a little bit behind. You have all the time in the world. It's your project. You do what you want. If you don't even want to finish it, that's fine too. Good morning. So this quilt is a great skill builder. It has lots of different blocks. I'll admit I was even a bit nervous making number one. It is the card trick block. I had heard all kinds of scary stuff about that block, but when I went to finally do it, the biggest trick was just keeping everything laid out in front of me so I could see how it all goes together. I'm hoping you cannot hear any of the construction noise, but if you do hear a lot of loudness in the background, that's what's going on. There's not much I can do about that. So have you all joined our Sparrow Quilt Co Daily group? That is a great place for you to join if you're looking for online quilting community, if you're looking for a better way to ask questions about the patterns we've shared, if you just want to share your beautiful quilt that you've been working on, that's what that group is for. So go ahead and search that on Facebook here, Sparrow Quilt Co Daily, and it is just a nice little community of quilters, and people are sharing lots there about our products and patterns. And no, it doesn't have to be one of our patterns. We love to see everything you're up to, but if you do share something you've made out of one of our patterns, it's likely that we'll take it and share it over on our business page publicly, just to tell everybody how awesome you are. All right, everybody, should we go ahead and get started? I'm hoping you've already received your PDF by email. Yeah. Okay, so Landon, I'm sorry, is sending it out right now, and I'll admit it was a little bit my fault. I just made it up this morning. Some days are just like that, guys. There's been so much new stuff arriving that it's been keeping me really busy, which isn't a bad thing because it's really fun. I love that part of the business, but it tends to be a lot of work, ordering product, getting it all listed on the website, getting it ready for showing on the show floor, all that good stuff. All right, so that PDF is coming to you shortly. You can see the block here. This is a star variation. I've used 3 different fabrics in this. You could move the placement of them. I was thinking about using my blue in the background this time, but I've decided to keep my white. It's what? That's got to be your father. Yeah. Yes, everybody, look, Matt bought me leather pants yesterday, and he's really excited about it. The kids are like a little disturbed at how excited their father was over that. Okay, let's back on that conversation. All right, we are ready to start cutting out this block, and I've got to make little notes to myself because I'm switching up my fabrics like I usually do. You know me, I always got to mess with the plan even when it's my own plan. So in place of the blue, I'm going to use my pink, my hot pink dots. So I'm going to write that on my pattern here so I don't lose track of what I'm up to. And in place of the green, I'm going to put the blue dot. I know, super tricky, right? We're going to keep the white the same, and that's going to make our colors really, really pop. Are you guys ready to get cutting? Oh, I printed it in black and white, and then I was like, oh, they're never going to know what's what. You print yours in color, and you'll be just fine. Duh. All right. Let's scoot this over a wee bit. I just need a bit of extra room for cutting. The first fabric I'm going to cut out is my blue. So let's set these ones aside for a moment. Now you guys know that I just love to give away prizes. And of course, we are using the guidelines for quilting rulers today. And I'm using my finished size quilting add-on rulers. These are available to outfit your guidelines rulers. They're also available in a modified version so that you can add them to your ruler that you already own at home. So whether you have an Olfa, OmniGrid, Fiskars, whatever you own currently, you are going to use the suction cups on these to attach them to your rulers. What's that? I've not had a phone case on for months. It made it like twice the weight, and my poor little pinky was given out. I got like chronic pinky pain from holding up my phone. Sorry, I'm getting lectured by my child over there. She's not a child, she's a grown married woman. What? Oh. Okay, so anyways, my prize today is going to be a set of these finished size quilting add-ons that you can attach to your 6x12 ruler at home. So how do you win that prize? You're going to share this video, and then I need you to come back and leave me a comment that you have shared, all right? And then at the end of the show today, we're going to give away that prize. How does that sound, guys? Sound okay? Good stuff. So what I need to cut out my blue fabrics is, first of all, blue fabric, and then we are going to cut 2 squares at 4 inches plus the half square triangle ruler add-on. So this is extra wide. It is far wider than 4 inches. So what I'm going to do is just take off of this end. And then I can leave the width of the strip alone. So watch what I'm doing and it'll make more sense in just a second here. First I'm going to have to trim off that selvage, so I better put my ruler together with the right add-on. These ruler add-ons come in 3 different sizes. There's your square add-on, so it's adding 1/2 inch. There is your half square triangle ruler add-on. That adds on 0.854 of an inch. And your quarter square triangle ruler add-on adds 1.207. So those are pretty specific totals, wouldn't you say? A little bit unusual. That's what makes these really, really handy, is that we don't have to cut our triangles large and then trim them down. With these rulers, we're cutting the exact size we need, and that saves us time because we don't have to trim things down later, nor do we have to piece our triangles in the normal way where you mark a line on the back and you stitch on either side and then you got to cut that down. It just saves time because we're being precise right off the bat. So I'm just going to attach my half square triangle ruler add-on. And I know that it's the half because it's labeled with an H at the top and my seam allowance at the bottom says 0.854. And I need to cut 2 squares. So I've got 2 layers of fabric here. One cut is going to get me what I need. Well, sort of. First I'm going to trim off my selvages. Nobody likes selvage in their quilts. Oh, I got to stop saying that because lots of people do like selvage. So we'll just get rid of that. And now, here's the important part. I have to set my slider on my guideline ruler. I need it to be set at 4 inches wide. Why did I settle on 4 inches? Does anybody know? My block is 12 inches wide, and it's got 3 columns. 1, 2, 3. 3 times 4 is going to make a 12-inch block total, right? So each one of these columns, I'm dealing with 4 inches in my mind. And then I don't have to think about the seam allowance because the ruler add-on adds the seam allowance for me. So it eliminates the math. It eliminates the headache of factoring all that out. So off of my strip, I'm going to cut the 4 plus a half square triangle, right? I'm doing blue in place of my greens. Okay, second guessing myself. I shouldn't, but always better to check twice and cut once. Now I've actually cut a rectangle here because my strip was extra wide. So I'm just going to turn that 90 degrees now, and I'm going to cut the other direction to create an actual square. And we're just going to use that same measurement on the ruler. And I'm always careful to line up something horizontal as well. I've got my slider on the vertical, so that's going to keep me nice and square, which makes me confident that my ruler or that my square I'm cutting isn't going to be wonky. So these are going to be half square triangles, which means I have to now turn them on an angle, and I'm going to cut them once down the center on the diagonal line from corner to corner. So we're just going to lay out that ruler from point to point, and then we'll go ahead and slice across there, which is going to give me 4 half square triangles. All right, there we go. So those are taking the place of my green triangles in my block that I've already made. Next, we're going to cut our pink fabric. And my widest, I always recommend you cut your smallest triangles first because that needs the widest square. So with the pink fabric, I'm going to be cutting little quarter square triangles. So I need to change my ruler add-on to the quarter square. It's got the Q at the top, and at the bottom it says 1.207. And I'm just going to use these little black levers to lock it in place. And those suction cups do a little bit of extra work to hold things in place as well. So now what we can do is cut. We need 1 square at 4 inches plus the QST. And if you don't have the ruler add-ons, then you're going to follow the directions that are in the little brackets. I've put on regular cutting instructions there as well. I didn't want to leave anybody out. So right now I'm cutting these little quarter square triangles, and what I need to do is turn it now and just cut the square, and then from that square I will cut my quarter squares. All right, hold that in place. How many times I have dropped what? Oh, how many times have I dropped this phone? I think only once, and I've had it about a year. I've been really good with this phone. My last phone, I dropped it out at the lake, and it landed face down on some gravel, and it really smashed it up bad. So I'm super extra careful. Like, I literally hold my phone with 2 hands because I'm extra clumsy. I should just put a clear case on it that's not heavy, and then you can still see how pretty it is. That's my thing with iPhones, is they're so beautiful. I want to see them. So I just need a clear case, and then I'll be set. Okay, so I've now cut this square once on the diagonal. Now I'm going to very gently lift my ruler, and my little handle is a lifesaver for this step. And I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and I'm going to go to the other diagonal line. We'll cut it now on the other plane. And this is going to give me 4 little triangles. There they are. Aren't they cute? Little cuties. That is my triangles in pink. So now what I need to cut is 1 square at 4 inches plus the square add-on. So I've not used that one yet. Let's take off our quarter square. Let's put on our half. Lock this in place. Push those down. All right. So my little square that I cut a moment ago and was just extra, I'm going to be able to use this one now, but I'm going to trim it down to 4.5 square. And it's going to be the center of my block. Okay, now we'll give that a little turn and trim it once more to square it up. Cut off that bit. There we go. All right, now this one I'm going to leave square because it's the center. I'm going to set that aside. We are now ready to move on to our white background fabric. Now, if you guys had a chance to share this video, you know that's how you qualify for the prize, right? So share the video and then come back here and leave me a comment that you've shared. Hopefully you've been watching all along, but if this is your first time joining us for the Mystery Summer Sampler, then you're going to need to sign up so you can get the patterns. Visit us at the website, sparrowquiltco.com, and you can enter your email and name, and we'll email all the prior patterns to you. I'm kind of looking forward to wrapping this up, and then I can put this all into one nice, tidy little pattern. At least that's my goal. Let's trim off those salvages. And now, in our white background, I'm going to cut one square at 4 inches plus the QST. So let's take off the square. One square at 4 inches. So I just need to cut a single layer of fabric. There we go. You guys, is it hot in here? I was hot before the video, then I got cold. I had to put my sweater back on, and it's just such a wrestling match. There's no way I'm taking it off now. All right. So I've got my quarter square triangle ruler on here. I'm going to cut a strip, and this strip is going to be wide enough to do my next square as well, because I'm cutting wide and then trimming down. That is a bit more useful. You can't add it back on if you cut small first. All right, so now I'm turning this little strip here, and I'm going to cut a square. And then we're going to trim that square twice on the diagonal. Not trim it, cut it twice. And that is going to be our little quarter square triangles out here on the outer edges. What I'm chewing with each... Oh! Okay, each of these rulers, I'm not chewing anything. On the ruler has a little silicone cup. And you know how a silicone cup, it doesn't suck, like a little... I don't know if it's silicone. I keep meaning to say suction cup. So a suction cup doesn't stick unless you lick it. Apply a little DNA, I usually say. And then when you press it down, it actually adheres to the surface you're pressing it onto. So I'm not chewing, I'm licking. And that's why I suggest everybody get their own set of finished size quilting rulers so that you don't have to swap spit. They're restricting the blood flow. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so I've cut this once on the diagonal, and again, I'm going to lift it really gently so I don't separate my triangles, and I'm going to cut it again on the horizontal line. There we go, and that's going to give me 4 little triangles. Oh no, don't shift. That's dumb. There we go. Ah, I was not holding it very well. I was trying to move my finger, and things went wonky. Ooh, someone's speedy out there today. All right, so now I have 4 small triangles, and I also need 4 squares out there, so I was not correct when I thought I was done with this. We're just going to double it up, cut 2 layers at once, and then I can cut a square and a square, and I'll have my 4 squares before I even know it. So let's line that up with a line. We're going to take off the quarter square, and we're going to put on the half square, because we are cutting... No, we're putting on the square square. I tell you, this hummingbird brain is bad today. Must be those leather pants. The package is called Finished Size. The add-ons package is called the Finished Size Quilting Rulers. Maybe Landon can look up the link and share it for you there. That'll make it easier for you to find it on the website. Okay, so I'm cutting a strip that's 4.5 inches. And then I'll turn it sideways and I'll cut my squares. I need to make 2 cuts, so I have 4 squares total. One. Oops. And there's 2. Okay, they're called seam allowance add-ons, these rulers. And it's a 3-piece set. It make sure you're buying the appropriate ones. There's a set for the guideline rulers, and then there's a set for your regular acrylic rulers. So based on what you've got, purchase appropriately. Send us a message if you're not sure. We'll help you sort it out. All right, are we ready to piece this baby together? I think so. Geez, I've really been bending over. I should have had my table taller, but now I need to lower it. Okay, so let's set aside that one, and let's lay out what we're going to be stitching here. My blues are my large triangle this time. I'm wondering if there's any new viewers out there that have never joined in before. You're watching our mystery summer sampler, even though summer is over. I know, we were late. And you can get the free patterns at sparrowquilt.com. Visit our website, put in your email address. We'll email the patterns to you. And if you're just joining us, make sure you share this video. I'm giving away a prize of the tools that I'm using today at the end of the show. And if you're late joining, don't worry. When this is over, you can go back and watch from the beginning. It just records, and then you can rewatch it. So this next big triangle, I'm just going to continue to swirl these. This one feels a bit familiar. Ah, it's almost this guy. Look, it is so similar. The white's on the inside. Tricky, tricky. So these are all blocks that were part of, when you buy these rulers, there's a set of instructions that comes with it. And the manufacturers of these items came up with a variety of blocks that you could try. So that's where the credit needs to go for all these blocks. I've just done up step-by-step instructions for them, but I didn't actually come up with any of these. Perfect. Lana just told me she's on the overhead camera, so you can all see the block that I'm laying out. I should have just done the whole quilt in pink and blue. That would have made me happy. I love this pink and blue. Something's up? With what? The block? It's this one. Landon's like, no, something's up. Something's not right. There we go. There we go. Okay, we're back on track. Yay! All right, so what we need to do first when we're piecing this, thank you for your sharp eyes. We are going to piece all these little units here, the outer wings of those center triangles. We're going to piece the white, pink. Okay, so there's 4 of those little units. I am going to go over to my trusty little Everson 30 that I've been very much enjoying this past little while. What are we stuck on? Am I down all the way? Okay. My Everson 30, that's what I'm sewing on. I am sewing today with Aurifil thread. It is a 50 weight, and my stitch length is a 2.5. Okay, so let's stitch our pinks to our whites. And I always like to start at the square corner, you know, the 90-degree one. I find my feed dogs grab it just a little bit better. I agree about the half square and quarter square triangles. I love triangles, and they're literally in every quilt I ever create. Okay, so my needle position is a little bit wide. We're going to move that over. Did you grab that from the... Yeah. Today I have got the Eversewn 30. Ah, there we go. It just was not responding to me appropriate. This is my Eversewn Sparrow 30. It is blush pink and it has rose gold accents. And that's really all a girl needs, isn't it? Just kidding. It is a beautiful little machine. It's got lots of features for its price range. It includes this little extension table. It comes with 310 stitches. It's got a thread cutter, you guys, which is unheard of in this price range. It's a beautiful little machine, and I'm really, really very pleased with this whole line of Sparrow machines. All right, so I got my needle position sorted out. It was a little bit fat, that seam allowance. So I've skinnied it up, narrowed it up. Della, that's a good question. I usually only use a walking foot when I'm sewing really thick, heavy stuff. Like when we do a Stash Buster series on Fridays as well, and we recently did a rag quilt, so I busted out the walking foot for that one. But it's not something that I use on a regular basis. Speaking of walking feet, the walking feet add-on for the Sparrow Machines is really affordable. I think it's around $35 or something like that. And I don't know, you guys, feet add-ons for machines can get so expensive. I was really surprised to see it was that affordable. All right, so this is my fourth little quarter square triangle unit. I'm just stitching my pinks to my whites. And we are zooming along. All right, I'm going to shuffle things over just a smidge so I can reach my pressing. I like it if I can move it over and I don't have to stand each time. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Geez, what are the chances? We're working on a quilt called Shuffle in our Stash Busters series right now. So you guys, if you want to join us for more free patterns, Friday morning is another day that we do free patterns. And you can also get that pattern on the website. And it's called Shuffle. But again, it's 10:30 on Friday mornings that you can join us for that one. There we go. So I've just got my Woolly Felted Wonders pressing mat right next to me. I've got the larger size here. I believe it's 17.5 inches square. I just love to have it right next to me so that I don't have to get up and move around. And I'm also using my little Go Travel iron, which is really, really great for my sore elbow. Uh-oh, my pieces all got stuck under something. There we go. So just trim off all those extra tails, and then we'll give this a good little press. And I am pressing to the darker fabric, that bright pink dot. I just like to set my seams first. Is that something you usually do? Do you press the seam before you open it up? It presses the thread into the fabric a little bit and makes the thread take up less room in your seam allowance. So that's a good thing, right? Valerie, this is my little Go travel iron. I think it's called Go. On the website, it's called a travel iron, and it does not shut off. So this is one that I always unplug if I'm stepping away. Because I don't want to worry about it when I'm out of the room. So you just never know if it tipped over or something silly. You never know when someone's going to bump a surface and not realize they've knocked something over. Let's get this out of here. Okay, so I'm also going to use my Easy Press pen today, and I've shown this to you guys before. It still has a bit of liquid in it. So, which camera is best, Del? On the main one? Okay, so I've just got this pen, and it's got a It's got a tip, like a spring-loaded tip on it, so I can actually press down on it. It's just like a felt pen. And I've filled it with Easy Press Pen liquid, which I suspect is a starch of some kind. And what I'm going to do is just run it along the seams that I've just pressed, and it is going to make everything super duper flat, which is really good when we're piecing, because it makes sure that we have the precision, that we get the accurate measurements that we're after when we're piecing. I mean, first, our very first step is making sure we've got an accurate seam allowance, which is why I was adjusting my needle position earlier. But I'm just going to, can you switch to the other camera for a moment and I'll just show them quickly. I know some of you have seen this before, but we may as well take the opportunity to show it again. I always like to stand behind so I can see what you see. So this is a piece, just normal, and you can see that it is flat, but it kind of puffs up a little bit. Do you see there? When I do this one, look how flat it is. It's just flat, flat, flat. And it's just from that pen running along that seam allowance and then pressing it again with my iron. We could call it magic, but I'm sure there's some sort of science behind it. But whenever I'm unsure, I just call it magic. Tandi, right? All right. Last one, we'll press this nice and flat, and then we're going to join that other half square triangle to these little units that we've just made. Now, my darlings, my quilty little darlings, have you all shared this video? Did you get a chance to share? Maybe you don't know about it or how to do it. So underneath this video, you can see the options to like, comment, and share. And you are just going to hit the share button, and that will share with your Facebook friends. And if you have any quilty friends, they can come and join in on the video and see what we're up to. All right, so now we are ready to join these big blue triangles to our little two pieces. And I'm going to put my two piece on top because there's a seam there. I want to make sure that it stays going in the proper direction. So I'm just going to line up my corners. And I know a lot of you like to use leaders and enders, but if you don't, make sure you just grab your thread tails, hold them to the back, and just start out stitching nice and slow, because those corners on your triangles can be a little bit delicate. We don't want to rough them up with our feed dogs too much. Just take your time with those bias edges so that it doesn't distort your pretty fabrics. Oops. There we go. You bet. So welcome everybody to our Mystery Summer Sampler. We are working today on block number 11. Next week will be block 12. That will be the last block in our series. And you can see all the prior blocks behind me on the wall. This is a really great skill builder series. We've been making our way through all the blocks one at a time. And we've been using a really great product called Guidelines for Quilting Rulers with the seam allowance add-ons. And speaking of the seam allowance add-ons, that's my prize today for my giveaway. So if you're interested in winning a prize, you're going to share this video here on Facebook. Then come back and leave me a comment to let me know that you have shared. I've just realized how much this block looks like one of the other blocks. And I did it in the exact same fabrics, which is a little bit funny because I honestly didn't plan it. There we go. So the really great thing about these blocks is that all the prior videos live here on Facebook. They also live on our website at sparrowquiltco.com, which is where you can sign up to receive all the prior patterns. And then you can visit the website and watch all the tips and tutorials and tricks that I teach you throughout the series. Okay, I've got those 4 pieced. Let's press them, and then we are ready to put our rows together. We're just flying through this today, you guys. All right, so I'm going to press towards the blue. I'm going to press away from that seam on the other side. Because that seam from the other 2 fabrics, it gives us a bit of resistance if we press towards that. We'll have an easier time if we press towards the large single triangle. So I've got the large triangle on top, and then I fold it open. That makes the seam go towards that fabric. And again, I'm going to use my Easy Press pen. I'm just going to apply a little bit of the liquid from the pen right on the seam, and then when I press it, it makes things flat as can be. Now, why does that matter, you're wondering? Because it makes our piecing more precise. It makes our blocks turn out the size they're supposed to. And if your piecing is super tiny, then it's even harder to achieve that level of precision. Every seam you piece reduces your size just a little bit if we're not bang on accurate. So we don't want to lose any fabric in the fold. We want everything to be as flat and as wide as it can possibly be. They're playing some good music in the back today, guys. If it wasn't going to drown out my voice, I'd pipe it right in and sing to you all. A little bit of a scary thought for some, I'm sure. Who does? Kay loves our fabric. Thank you, Kay. I'm a big fan of polka dots. I try to put them in everything. So I chose a line of polka dots for this quilt because they're all bright and fun and pretty. Okay. So I like to press it a little bit first and then apply my Easy Press pen because it just applies nicer if the fabric's already a little bit flat. And you're not gobbing this stuff on. You really just want to apply it lightly. You guys watched me a couple weeks ago. The first time I used it, I really blobbed it on there. And then I had a little bit of residue and I had to kind of scratch it off my iron. But if we're just light with the application, then you don't have to scrape anything off or worry about flaky stuff on your fabrics. All right. We are now ready to put our rows together. I better make sure I got them all right. Look good, everybody? Have I done it correctly? Okay, so let's put this side onto here, and then we will stitch down those sides. Maxine and Faye want to know what, honey? What that pen is. Oh, okay. Ooh. Matt's just here to show me the sign. Amazing. Oh my God. Hey, Matt's going to show you the sign, everybody. That is now on the outside of our building. It's going to be really nice when people drive by because they'll actually be able to see us from the street. So the pen I am using, it is part of the Acorn Precision Piecing System. If you're interested, you can check it out on the website, Acorn Precision Piecing System. It consists of a couple of different steps, and I'll show you the glue in a couple minutes here. I only like to use it when I've got some seams to align. So this is the second step of the process. It's called the Easy Press pen, and it comes with a liquid that you fill into the pen, and I suspect it's a bit of a starch, and that is what's making my seams so super duper flat. And I will demonstrate the seam align glue in just a moment here. When you buy the whole kit on the website, we include a refill for both of these items. So you'll have like tons of it. You'll be set for a while, unless you piece like 80 million hours a week, which isn't even possible. Just kidding. But it'll last you a really long time. All right, so now I am starting to stitch together my little rows. And I'm just going to do these 2 columns first. And that is good. That's a good size. Bang on. I always, pardon me? Yay. We've been waiting a... Say that again, honey.
Dad was saying I see you in the videos just as you talking to us like you're one of us and you're not making you feel intimidated to try anything.
Thank you so much for that comment. I really appreciate it. I am one of you guys. I'm just a quilter. I'm learning new stuff every day still, and it's still just so fun. So it's nice that I can share, because I know in the early days when I was learning to quilt, there wasn't a lot of good videos available online, and it can be expensive to take classes, which I do encourage to take classes because you learn so much, but some of us just can't get to a quilt store or whatever the issue may be. So I really do try just to keep it down to earth. I try to pretend like y'all are here sewing with me and we're just friends. Which you could do, I do have a couple of in-store retreats, and you are welcome to come and join us for those. You could hang out with me for a weekend. I'll even feed you. All right. I need to lay these out first before I press them so that I know which direction to press them. And so that I make sure I have everything arranged correctly. You guys know sometimes how I get the fruit fly brain going on and things just don't go the way I want it to. So when I'm piecing together a block like this, I'll alternate the direction of my rows. So here I am going to press out to the 2 white outer corners because that is the easiest. The fabric will go in that direction the easiest. Here I'm going to press towards the center square. So those seams will be pressing towards center. And then again out here, I'm going to press out. So that changes the direction of my seam so that everything nests together really, really beautifully. And then my corners and points will all line up really, really nicely, which I really like. That's a big thing that's important to me about sewing. I want to be precise because fabric is expensive and I put a lot of time into this, so I want it to look good. Keeping all of that in mind, though, I'm not going to rip it apart more than twice. If I can't get it after 2 times, I'm going to live with it. A little bit of humility never hurt anybody. All right, so I've applied my Easy Press pen again, and I am going to press this super duper flat, put it back in place, and this one's going to press towards the pink fabric. There we go. I heard a really good bit of advice on the weekend. There was a teacher here named Kim Kasky. She's teaching our beginner classes. And she was saying that a lot of stitchers are scared of steam. Are you scared of steam? Put your hand up. I don't use steam. I don't like it. I don't use it ever, ever, ever. And so now I must mention that Kim is a pre-washer of fabrics, I do believe. So shrinkage isn't an issue. That's a big part for me, is the shrinkage. But what she said is the reason people, is because fabrics often distort when we're steaming them. So what she recommended is when you're steaming, that is when you need to be very diligent about the lifting and pressing type of iron use versus the gliding over the surface of the fabric type of pressing. If we are applying steam and we're pushing our fabrics, that's when we're going to get distort. If you're applying steam and it's just a lower and raise, then you are not distorting anything. So keep that in mind as you're using steam on your fabrics. And I'm going to call that my tip of the day today because I did not have a tip of the day for you. And I'm going to give credit to Kim Kasky for that tip of the day. Because when I overheard her say that, I thought it's so true. Because our fabrics become hot and moist, and then they just stretch and move in ways that they don't normally behave. So that's where we have to be extra diligent about how we're treating them and treating them with care. All right. Getting off my pedestal now. I'm going to stop preaching and I'm going to get back to sewing. All right. Look how flat those are. I hope you guys can see how beautifully flat that is. I'm really quite proud. So let's go ahead and add that last column of blocks to each row, and then I'll show you the seam-aligned glue and how I use that. We're getting near the end, everybody, so this is probably your last chance to share this video. Then you're going to come back and leave me a comment that you've shared. And if you've seen someone else share and you've followed this link, then welcome. My name is Brady. We're doing the Mystery Summer Sampler Quilt Along. There's not much mystery left. Next week is number 12, and that'll be our last block in this series. And then we're going to start a whole new one. So you can just keep watching on Wednesdays at 10:30. And we also do videos on Fridays at 10:30. This week we're also going to have an auction. If you've never seen one of our auctions, they're super fun. What we do is we take fabric from around the shop and we put it on the site at 20% off, 10 or 20% off. And we'll just start showing it to you and romancing it and talking about it. And then you can buy it off the website. If it's not sold within 10 minutes, then the price drops 10%. And it will continue to do so until the item sells. So it can get really competitive and you can get some fabric at a really good price. So join us this Saturday at 10:30. I'm going to have some beautiful motif recuts. I'm going to have a bunch of wide backs. I got a little bit of my private stash that I'm ready to break up with. The truth is I just brought a whole bunch more home and I needed room for the new stuff, so the old's got to go. Can any of you relate to that? Pardon me? The next fall one? Yeah. So, let's take a week in between because I'm going to need to do some prep work on that one. So I've been meaning to talk to you about that. October 17th? Yep. Gotcha. Okay, and then what's the date on the following Wednesday? So that's when Judy's here. We got a guest teacher coming. Do you guys know who Judy Matson is? You really should check her out at greenfairyquilts.com. She's amazing. She does some of the most beautiful quilting I've ever laid eyes on. Okay, so Becky, we're going to have to announce it because we can't quite decide right at this moment. We might have to wait till after Judy because there's no sense getting you all excited and then not showing up. So we'll launch the dates soon and let you know. That is a good way to think of it, Donna. Yep. Because when I'm pressing a shirt, the lift and lower isn't as effective. There's times when I just need to glide the iron over the fabric. So that's probably really good advice. Donna was just saying to iron when you're working on clothing, and when you're quilting, you're pressing. Oh. Okay. So I'm hoping you all still have sound. Landon's just reloading the page so that we have no more freezing. Okay, we're back. Good, good, good. All right, so I've just done those two seams. Now I'm going to apply my Easy Press pen, and then I will do the third one. And we're just pressing. All right, let's put these fellas back. And I got one more little seam to press. And let's use our little penny guy. My angle's a little bit funny, so I'm I'm going from center out. All right, so I'm gonna stand up again for this part. All right, so you can see how pretty my block is. It's coming along very nicely. Now my concern is lining up these intersections because I really want it to line up properly. That's my whole goal here of cutting up all this fabric and putting it all back together. you want to put us onto the small screen, please, Elle? This little guy, my seam align glue, it's a little squeeze bottle, and it's got this really fine tip, which allows me to apply a tiny, tiny little globe of glue. It's just, it comes out of there so perfectly. I'm absolutely in love with this applicator, but I like to just poke a pin through it before I start using it, because sometimes a bit of glue hardened in the tube from last time, and then it won't come out. What?
It says must stay away from auction. Must stay for new sewing machine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Someone called me their favorite evil temptress yesterday, and was that you, Heather? Oh my goodness. I laughed for an hour. I even took a screenshot and shared it on my personal page. That is the best. I use a wool pressing mat all the time. In fact, this is one right here, right beside me at my little table here. This is the bigger one. No, it's the bigger square one, and it's 17.5 inches square, and it just fits right beside my machine. You can also get a little 8.5 by 8.5, which is really cute. Perfect for retreats or classes or traveling or that sort of thing. And so is this little iron. Like sometimes it's really, I'm a little bit of an introvert, so when I go to a retreat, I love to talk and eat, but then when I get to my station, I am working. So I don't want to get up to have to go to the iron. So if I've got a little station right beside me, then I can just kind of put on my headphones and get to work, and then I don't have to get up, because the second my butt leaves that chair, there is 8 pounds of chocolate in my mouth, and I'm talking to everybody in the room, and I'm not getting anything done. So, hummingbird brain. If I can just make myself be really focused, that's ideal for me. So those are really great products. That little iron and the little wool pressing mat, they're my best friends when I go traveling, stitching FR. Okay, so I've got my little applicator glue bottle, and I'm going to put a little dab of glue on either side of the seam intersection. And because I was very careful about pressing this seam that way and this seam is pressed that way, when I touch them to one another, the bulk of the seams is going to be evenly distributed, and those seams are just going to kiss right inside, and I'm going to stitch them together, and they're going to look perfect when I open them up. So let me show you. We're going to put a tiny little, I need to hold this guy down. Stop it. Let's do it this way. We're going to put a little blob right here. And just in a second, I'm going to show you how perfect these little globs of glue are. I just love them. I don't know why, but you need to see them. Can you see it on there? Those little, perfect little spheres of glue, and they stay really well put. Like you just saw me lift that and carry it around, and they still have not budged. So then what I'm going to do is put this seam right on top, and I'm totally blocking your view, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to press it in place with my finger, hold it there. Hold this one in place too. And I'm going to peek at it from the top and make sure that my seams are touching inside the way I want them to, and they are. Now I'm going to scoot this over to the iron. I'm going to give it a quick blast of the iron, and then that is going to set the glue for me. We'll just do a quick count of 3 or 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now that is glued in place. And I don't have to sew over pins, which doesn't really matter to me, but I know a lot of people are scared of that. And don't worry, this glue is not like set in stone. If you discover that, no, it's not quite right or you need to move it, you're just going to pull the layers apart. It'll be just fine. Okay. My seam underneath started to flip a little bit, so I just lifted my fabric and laid it out flat and carried on. The glue is so great. I love it. Like, I'm a big fan of fork pins, and I use them all the time. But this is pretty handy. The trouble with fork pins is that they distort how the fabric lies just a little bit. They put a little bit of a curve in it, and they're thick. So this keeps everything nice and thin, and I'm really liking it a lot. All right, let's press this open, and then we can attach that last and final row. I'm going to give you guys one more chance to share. This is your last shot at the prize. So you're going to share this video, then come back and leave me a message. Just say I shared, and we will pick a winner at the end. And I'm going to use my pen. My seams lined up perfectly. I'll show you in just a second here, because my little seam-align glue magic. It's really no magic when you know it's just glue. Then try and explain the science behind it, right? Most days I'm pretty smart, but the days I'm not, I need a break. So magic comes in handy. All right. There we go. Look how beautiful and flat that is. My seam intersections are beautiful. The point of my star is floating a little tiny bit, and I don't like it, but I'm not going to rip it apart because of that. It's hardly the end of the world. But now I'm ready to put a bit more glue on either side of those intersections, and then I'm going to flip this piece down, and we are going to be done with this block. I can't believe we're near the end, you guys.
Really quick for an Instagram live, can you show them what you're doing?
Oh yeah, I sure can. So I am just using this really great product. It's the Acorn piecing system. This is called the Seam-Align glue. So I've put a tiny little blob of glue on either side of the intersection there. Now I'm going to take this piece and put it on top. And the glue is going to hold it in place without pins. So I've made sure that my intersections, my seam allowance here is pressed towards center. My seam allowance on this one is pressed out. So that's going to make the nesting of my seams really, really easy. I'll just line that up on top, kind of press it down with my finger. I'm going to go over and iron it in just a second here. There we go. I could probably stitch it like this, but I like to give it the blast from the iron, and that really sets the glue for me. And it's not like crazy glued. It's not permanent. If you need to separate your pieces, it's no problem. So there, now I can sew, my intersections are lined up, and I don't have to use any pins. Safety first. Well, your phone case is cute. Thanks for joining us, Instagram. All right, we've got that all. Laura was late because of what? Oh, good job, Laura. Yours is turning out so nice. Yes. Yes, please, fabrics with a pink background. So if you guys have not yet joined Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily, then you need to go join it. Laura, who's just joined our show here, watches from Oregon, I believe, and she has been such a loyal follower, and she's made so many of our quilts. So you need to go check them out in Sparrow Quilt Co. Daily. She bought some gorgeous fabrics from us called Yes Please by Riley Blake, and it all had rose gold overlay, and like I told you, that's all a girl needs is rose gold. So she made that into my shuffle quilt, and it is so cute with a pink background. I love it.
Stephanie says she put the half square triangle add-on on one side of her square on the other side.
Oh my God! Stephanie, you're so smart. Oh, I can't wait to do that next week. Why didn't you figure that out weeks ago? Huh? Jeez. Wow. I'm so glad you like them. Stephanie, you're brilliant. I'm so grateful. My goodness. You guys saw me changing those ruler add-ons back and forth, and Stephanie has figured out you can put one on each side of the bloody ruler. Ah!
Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Why did
I hope John and Ritzko are watching. What do you think, guys? They probably thought of that. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. Yay. Because you know the next quilt we're doing, we're going to be using the finished size quilting rulers too, so it's going to really make things easier. Oh, I'm so happy. Wow. So smart. Good. I'm glad you were as excited because you're bloody brilliant. Oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Wow. I'm going to send you something. I'm not even kidding. Okay, we are done. This beautiful block, star variation, you can see how pretty it is in my pink and blue. And now we need to choose a winner. So we're going to send someone the finished size quilting seam allowance add-ons as a prize. So Lannon's going to choose a winner from those of you who shared, and then we will get that prize sent out to you. Don't forget to join us next Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. We are going to do the final block in this series, and then we will hopefully announce the date of the start of the next program. Don't forget to join us on Friday mornings as well, 10:30 a.m. here on the Facebook page. And if you've missed any of the prior episodes or you want to check out any of our prior videos, they're all on the website. They're also all on the YouTube channel. The